Welcome to Arat, week number 3. Thanks for joining me. There are 2 things that I want to say free-handed before I get into this week's message. First, September's coming up. ALS awareness. Remember last year we did the Ice Bucket Challenge, raised a lot of awareness for ALS. Some of you noticed I posted a link, I think it was yesterday or the day before. A close friend of mine, who I watched grow up into the beautiful young woman she is right now, Hope December, is a caregiver for her husband. Right after Steve proposed, or I'm not sure if it was he found out before he proposed or he found out after he proposed. And he got diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. Well, Steve's a very amazing person and has fought. He's given me a lot of courage as I've watched him be so loving and just embrace every day, even through the struggles that he goes through. So while we start and we realize that we, go through things, be grateful for the little things, because, somebody that's fighting for their life on a daily basis that has no control over what happens to them and doesn't know if they're going to start wake up. It's not a good thing, and it's not a good thing to watch as someone you love is helpless. So, if you guys could do me a favor, we need to get Bill Murray to see Steve. Steve doesn't ask for much, and he gives so much to everybody. And if you guys want to check out how amazing Steve is, go to Hope for Steve. And check out Hope, because she's amazing as well. So much talent. Just such an awesome person. So, hashtag Bill Murray for Steve. Come on, guys, let's make this happen for Hope and Steve. It's the least that we could do for him, for all of the happiness that he spreads to everybody else. Secondly, ALS got a lot of awareness by their challenge that they did last year. I'm not trying to raise money for addiction, because pretty much, I just want to start and make a stand to let people know that we all go through things. We all deal with things on our different levels. Some of us make mistakes and errors in judgment. Some of us lead towards wrong paths. We're not all perfect. We've got to find our own way. Which leads me into this week's message. I want us to start and do hashtag screw addiction. Okay. Even if you're an addict and you're still going through the feelings of using the drugs and facing everything that you're dealing with, guess what? You can do it. Even if you're only clean for 10 minutes. Say no to dope. And each time that you feel the need or the urge to use, do me a favor. Hashtag I won. Because even a half an hour, that can lead to 2 hours, which can lead to 4 hours, which then can lead to 8. Eventually he'll be able to kick it. And remember, there's always someone out there. So, welcome to edition number 3 of Arat. This week's message is going to be about blame and denial. See, the first thing I came to terms with was the blame. Instead of me taking responsibility, I always tried to rationalize my choices. That's what took me so long to find the words. Today's message: serenity. As an addict, these words stand so true to everything I do on a daily. God granted us the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. I can't be remorseful about my past. Instead, I have to embrace my role because it may have been wrong, but sitting back trying to die gave me lots of insight. So my first step towards release was freeing myself from my demons, which is part 2. They say the courage to change the things I can. That was hard, because as a human, we tend to be creatures of habit. Why attempt to change something if you don't see it as wrong? Which led me to my adventures. I knew the things that I was doing were wrong at the time. There was no focus on the negative or the consequences of the choices. So, I set out on a new journey. One where failure is not an option. To believe that I was the same person that I am now, 3 years ago. It's wild, because I was determined to change, and it was strong enough to go for it. And I did. So, now comes the knowledge to know the difference between the two. As an addict, I can't go back on my past decisions. All I can do is remind myself of the misguided girl who was afraid to make a stand, to speak out. My family has a lot to do with this, because of all the different things they did. My cousin knew what my world was all about, yet he didn't judge me. He was like, family is a bond, one that ties us all together. Now look at me. I went from being a, quote, worthless crack whore, unquote, to a myself, quote, an ambitious career woman, and a mother who is an amazing person. I now spend my 18-hour days leading from midnight to walking into Alley Cat, follow the same routine, wait for the phone to ring, send up my trucks, coming up with new ideas to help out other people. Then, by 9 a.m., I'm home. I have my wild/tame animals, my squirrels, my blue jays, my cats, my cardinals, my sparrows, and some other birds. Then, I go over to the apartments less than 1,000 feet from my house. And I take so much pride in that, because in a year, I started off mowing the grass, trimming hedges, basically got a title as a junior property manager, which was awesome because, I got handed down some pretty big responsibilities, which now leads us into today, where I pretty much have a lot more responsibilities and a lot more trust. I'm not a drug addict. So when people sit there and say that they can't trust you, or that they're not willing to believe that you were able to change, guess what? It's the knowledge to know the difference between the two. I can't change you. You have to change yourself. You don't like what I did in the past. I don't like what I did in the past. But guess what? I love what I'm doing with my today and my future. And I'm very content on it. And, not to mention, each and every one of you. I used to show my tits and my ass and swing on a pole, thinking that I was cute and that I was something that I wasn't. Okay. I used to sit back in the corner, sucking my thumb. Yes, I still do. It's my security blanket. And if you don't like it, guess what? That's another thing that you can start and piss off about, because I'm gonna do me. No holds barred. It's all about honesty. It's all about perception. How you perceive me is your problem. How I perceive myself is my problem. Let me tell you, nobody can judge me harder than I judge myself. Because I set very high goals and very high standards. And I try my hardest to live up to them. Some people might think that my goals and my hopes are unreachable. They're just merely a little mountain girl's dream. Guess what? I've already been to places that I never imagined that I would go. I've done things that I never imagined that I would ever do. I'm actually thinking about getting together a team for the Shatterproof Challenge, which is coming up September 29th here in Bethesda, y'all. This is going to be where we all come together to basically rappel down a 15-story building. Yeah. Okay. I'm not an avid walker. Not exactly in the best shape. She could probably go wrong with this. But you know what? I'm so happy with my recovery and with the fact that I'm able to stand here and do this and be like, yeah, you know what? Life will throw some twists at you. But it's all on how you take it. I was bitter. I was miserable. I hated myself. I hated the world. Hell, there was a lot of times whenever I was just so screwed up mentally that all I wanted to do was just die. Crawl in a black hole and die. I would get so pissed off that I would literally crash into vehicles. Shit like that. I didn't know what was going on. I had to find myself. If you've been abused or you're continuing to be abused, whether it's physical, emotional, sexual, anything, that's the first step towards kicking your addiction, is getting to the root of all the evil. You've got to figure out what's holding you back from moving on. And it's hard. It's hard as hell. It's a difficult struggle. Sometimes you might fall. Sometimes you meet other people who will lend you the helping hand in order to pull you back up. Sometimes you gotta reach for rock bottom. The people that care about you the most need to walk away. And not in the sense of walking away completely alienating that person. No. Whenever that person reaches out to you, you're always there for them. So, Amanda Jr., if you're watching this with Mom right now, I love you, kid. This one's dedicated for you. Sorry that you're choosing the things that you're choosing right now. I love you. I really do. You mean the world to all of us. And I don't have to love you. I don't even have to like you. Hell, I don't like anybody, to be honest with you. I'm that type of person. But I love everybody. And I'm always willing to stare and do anything in the world for anyone. Including being a voice of reality. I don't pass judgment on people. Because, quite frankly, who the hell am I? I'm not one of these individuals that sit back and are like, oh, so-and-so is such a dick. Nope. I would be like, look, you're a dick. And that's all about my reality. You can't get to be where I am by not being determined, by not having willpower, and by not having the courage to go on. So, in closing, remember, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the knowledge to know the difference between the two. Find your serenity, find your courage, and find your knowledge. And keep the people that you love close to you. Because this is a hard road to walk down. It starts with you. And the people that are in your circle that are, quote-unquote, your saviors, your, quote-unquote, friends, yeah. Remember how you are with your addiction. You're worried about your next fix and how you can get it. Okay? It's everybody out for themselves in this world. So, you gotta look out for number one, which would be you. You have to love yourself. You have to find yourself. But I'll be there to help you point out who you really are in my eyes. Because I can find a positive in every negative. Because that's what makes me optimistic. And I guess that's why I just don't say, screw everybody, screw the world. Become bitter and miserable. And just sit back and bitch all the time. Because guess what? Life sucks ass. Okay? But you can come out strong in the end. If you ever need anything, feel free to hit me up. And I hope you stay tuned for next week's edition of Arat. Thank you guys. Have a great day.